And it looks like I am live. Hello, hello, everybody out there. Hope you're well. I'm well. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but I am. Anyway, I'm back. I'm not going to do that anymore, just so you know. Ah, those little things I do to amuse myself. Hello, hello, I am Kaylin Apt, the Style Sherpa. Hope everyone's doing well on this beautiful Thursday. Let me introduce myself to those of you who are not super familiar with who I am and what I do and why I'm here and why am I coming on live and talking to you and what's going on. So, I help people create the change they're seeking in their life. I have a variety of tools I use to help them get there, but the one I lead with is called conscious dressing. It is my own methodology where I help you create a wardrobe and learn how to use your clothing to shift your mindset so that you can show up as the best possible version of yourself so that then you have the confidence to create any change that you're looking for. And I get to be on that journey with you, helping you out, guiding you, just because nobody should be doing that stuff all alone all the time. And I like to come on Thursdays, and I call it my awareness zone, sort of dabbling a little bit of some of the tools I use, the mindset shifting, the concepts, and just sort of how I think and how I function, and how I do the work for myself as well, to sort of give you sort of a peek behind my little curtain and how I am and who I am, and to, a little vulnerability. Here I am. It's kind of some of the things I'm great at. Here are some of the kind of things I suck at. So today, I'm talking about one of the things that I suck at. I'm really, really, really excited to talk about that, as you can imagine, because who doesn't like to talk about things that they're not good at? Oh, and here I am, just about to step into it. So this week I shared a fabulous, and where's my phone? I shared a fabulous quote that really got me thinking, caught my eye, and I'm going to read it. So just excuse me as I look at my phone here. And it just struck me. It said, appreciate where you are in your journey, even if it's not where you want to be. Every season serves a purpose. So that's not really a hugely new message necessarily, but I do think it's one that bears repeating on a regular basis, because every day, every week, every year, things change. It's constant. The only thing that stays the same is that nothing stays the same. So appreciating where you are really, really helps you grow and evolve. But sometimes it can be challenging. So I guess the first thing I want to say is it is important to celebrate and revel in the positive things that happen when they happen for you. That's something we should all do, and you should brag a little bit. You should, scream and yell, and I accomplished something, and I did something great, or I evolved, and I really I'm conquering this thing. Like when I first started working on my own vulnerability issues, I was really proud of myself. As icky as it felt and weird, I was like super, super proud of myself. And working on my codependency issues, super proud of myself. So it's important that we celebrate and, as I said, revel in our successes, because those times are what's going to build the foundation for us to rest upon when we have to face and reflect upon things that maybe aren't going so well. So, learning to sit in the dis-ease of growth, and when you know it's time to be leveling up, when something's hitting you. So over the last few weeks, I have been hit hard by this understanding that something's going on, something's shifting, and I'm off kilter. And I'm feeling my nervous system is a wreck. I've just been feeling like I've been sitting in the muck. Like every time I turned around, I just wanted to cry over anything, whether it was a Hallmark commercial or just the box of tissues that was sitting there waiting for me. And it was just one of those times where everything felt challenging, and conversations that were happening with people were harder, and just was like, oh, this feels so gross. And I am very, very guilty of being that person. Let's stop all of this feeling ickiness, because I don't like to feel, because I feel a lot. Being an empath, I feel all the feels. I feel your feelings, my feelings, everyone's feelings. And it can be overwhelming and really, really uncomfortable. So my first my first response is, let's make it stop. I got a tool for that. Hence why I do what I do and why I have so many tools, because I've been this manic must make pain go away. You know, must make this discomfort go away. Must push it aside, must hide it, must numb it, must whatever. So I found these fabulous modalities, and a lot of which work to help you through things, but there also is a time where you just have to sit in it. You just gotta roll around in all those emotions and just feel the things without responding to that. And that's the key, I think, because most of us are probably even sort of trained to alleviate the pain. You got cramps, you take an ibuprofen. If you've got this pain, you put that patch on it. So we're trained to stop pain. And emotional pain is really, really hard anyway. So, gosh, we don't want to deal with that. So, we've been trained, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of suck at it. I'm sure a lot of people do. So, part of doing all the work that I talk about here. So, I've been talking about release and reflecting the last few weeks. Um, Part of that is the eventual uncovering of buried layers. So as you're doing this work, as you're doing whatever the work is that you're working on to get more confidence, to be the best version of yourself, maybe it's vulnerability, and maybe it's codependency, and maybe it's who knows what it is. Whatever it is, what you will find is, as you do tackle things and grow, you're going to uncover more layers. You're like, well, I thought I dealt with that. But as I said before, it's going to come back, but it's going to be slightly deeper. It just means you're ready to do something a little harder. So when we hit that point, when we see that, okay, this is now, something is being uncovered, acknowledging it, understanding what it is super important. So being aware of what's happening instead of going, I think I'm having a nervous breakdown, or I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just hormones. I don't know. I'm just going to go lie down and numb it and ignore it. This is not the time to numb anything. This is really the time to feel. And I can't emphasize that strongly enough, because it sucks so bad. It's really, really uncomfortable and really, really hard. And this is a place to practice being fully present, non-judgmentally, with yourself, which is really hard. Instead of going, oh, Jesus, what is wrong with you? Just get over it. Everything's fine. Or suck it up and have that conversation, or make this decision and just move on. Like get over it already, right? Like, find something to just deal with it and move on. This is not that. This is the time to really, really sort of figure out what's going on. And so, being present, I have found that literal work, literally doing literal work. So, for instance, when I was talking last week about reflection, I mentioned that I will literally look myself in the mirror as I'm reflecting on who I'm looking at, what I'm looking at, what have I released, and where am I going, and is this who I want to be? And I had said, I use my conscious dressing. I put together the most fabulous version of myself for that day, whatever is feeling great, and then I sit and I look in the mirror. So that's literally, I'm taking the concept of reflection and I'm turning it into an actual action, right? I am literally looking at my reflection. And so conscious dressing is actually one of the things that I was doing innately, as another literal thing. So I was shifting my mindset as I got dressed, and I would just pull things and put them on, and they either felt right or they didn't. And then as I started really sort of delving into it and creating the methodology to teach people, I sort of got down to the nitty gritty of, oh, this means that to me, and this is what this is representing to me. And it really became a very rich tool for me. So, okay, yep, sorry. Yeah, doing the literal work. So I, I have realized that this portion of the journey, or where we do need help and company along the lines, a lot of this can only be done with yourself. So this work that I have been doing, I realize that it's just me. It's just me that's needed here. And so I have sort of stumbled upon a couple of things of late that I've been doing that have felt soothing to me, but not to the point where it was making it go away and numbing it. So a very different level of getting through. And so I just want to tell you a little story. I was at my Reiki appointment. I go to Reiki about once a week, and Reiki is energy healing. If anybody doesn't understand that, you go to Reiki healer and you lie on a table, and they hold their hands over you, and they hit the chakra points, and they sort of realign your energies and get everything flowing again. And it's just a lovely piece of self-care that I had decided a couple years ago I was going to do at least once a month, which I have been doing, and I love it so much. So I was at my Reiki appointment, and I was feeling the need to, I was going through all these things and feeling some stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, what I really need to know is that I am safe to do this by myself. So that's always been a challenge for me, is feeling safe in my own self. Always relying on other people, or being distracted, codependent, being distracted by other people's needs, so putting my needs aside, right? So in order for me to really sort of access and take a look to see what's going on, I need to actually let it come out, which means I need to let it be safe. So I had to create that own safe space for myself. And as I was lying on the Reiki table, and it was just lovely, and I had my hands just sort of flat on the mattress because I'm lying down, and my hands are just touching the mattress, touching the lovely soft sheet, and she puts a little essential oil here. It just smells nice, and some warm stones on the chakra points. It feels delightful. I have a blanket. So I'm fully relaxed, and all of a sudden, as I'm lying there, it felt like, as my hands were lying on the bed, on the mattress, it felt like someone else's hand was doing this. It felt like this. I so struggle with this camera thing. I'm sorry. So it felt like this was happening. That's what it felt like. Both hands on the table. And I was like, oh, it feels like I'm holding my own hand. And I was like, oh, that's lovely. That feels really supportive and nice and literal. And I got to thinking, I do this an awful lot. I do. I do this little namaste prayer hands thing. I do it a lot. And what I have now realized is that that is sort of become a touchstone for me, where it's basically saying, I got you, girl. I got you. And that has been very, very comforting when, as I'm going through this sort of muck, I'm sitting in it and being very uncomfortable, and really just wanting to go find some relief somewhere from some modality, right? Sound healing, and well, any of the things. Let me read something. Let me figure this out. I allow myself to just hold my own hand. I hold my own hand, and I take a couple deep breaths, and I just say, I got you. I got you. And I'm starting to become my own best friend, which is what probably should be anyway, right? And then, after I have been doing that for about probably a week or so, like consciously doing that. So I've been unconsciously doing it for a while, but now that I've consciously been doing that, I was really trying to sort of dig a little deeper, and I was ready to sort of figure out, okay, what's going on? Let me think about this. And I was sort of saying, I really just need to sit down and bring my board of directors to the table. And my board of directors is my ego. It's my inner child. It's my saboteur. It's my victim. It's my inner prostitute. It's our archetypes, right? It's all the important different levels of who I am and how I function in the world. And I did another literal exercise, and I just sort of sat there, and I said, okay, I'm calling a meeting. Board of directors, come to the meeting. Everyone to the table. I'll bring cookies, tea, whatever you want. And they didn't all come at once. I started with the ego, because the ego was shouting at me loudestly. And I started having a conversation with the ego, asking the ego some questions. And so I was able to act as the neutral interviewer, the therapist, coach, whatever you want to call it, and ask the ego questions and then wait to see what the ego said. And then as I started doing that, other aspects would come to the table. My inner child came to the table, my creative came to the table, and they all started telling stories about, well, remember, like my creative came to the table and she's like, Galen, remember when like you were going through that manic creative time, and if I got let out of the box it was hard to get me back in, and everyone was like, geez, when you're like involved in your painting or your sewing or any of the million things you do creatively, you get a little bit like no one else can get in. And that was when I realized I needed to let her out a little more, because once she was out she didn't want to go back, which is why she got manic and wouldn't, she would get a little bit like dismissive of everybody. And so she came to the table and was like, hey, remember that? Remember how when you let me out on a regular basis, I calm down because I know I'm being seen and heard. And literally, I had these conversations going, and it was just this big table full of the different versions of me having this conversation and giving input. And really allowing all the different major aspects of me and how I'm functioning in myself and then with the world outside to be seen and heard. And it's, you know, allowing all aspects of every part of me to be seen and heard. If we don't do this, we're never, ever going to be able to fully inhabit the best version of ourselves, because we're always going to be ignoring some part, tucking it away, not willing to accept it. So we really have to bring all the parties to the table, the good parties and the bad parties and everybody in between, and everybody needs to get a say. And I have to say, it has been a very interesting exercise. And we did have to sort of call a break to it, because it kind of got to the point where it was like, okay, I don't know where we're going right now. Let's table this for a bit and go off and not think about it for a while. And then we'll reconvene in a couple of days and see where we're at. And I found it to be very enlightening. And when you do it, have in front of you, have a journal, piece of paper, and even if you don't know who the characters are, when you start asking questions of one, you may find that you're like, oh, well, that answer to that question makes me think of this. Once you start getting to know yourself and how you're showing up, it's easier to invite that person to the table. So that's why all of this stuff is so, so, so necessary. Everything you do uncovers another layer so you can get deeper and richer and more evolved and really show up the way you want to show up and create the life that you want for you. But you got to get to know yourself first, right? So that's kind of a big one. I have to say, I just want to share a couple people that I follow on Instagram that soothe my little heart. That I don't use as a numbing escape manic modality must cure, but more as a tool to help me breathe into myself. And so the first one is a soul called Joel, Joel, a soul called Joel. That is this wonderful, he's African American man, and he's got the most incredibly deep voice. And every day he asks the same question. He says, good morning, beautiful soul. How is your heart? And he closes his eyes and he takes some deep breaths. And he's always outside somewhere. And then he has something fabulous, may your day and heart be filled with love and light, and you express yourself in the best possible version. Something like that. And I find it's just a lovely little way. If you don't have time to meditate, don't aren't sure about the whole going inward and reaching out, that's a great baby step. It is like the perfect, it's just not even a couple minutes, I don't think. It's fast, but it's calming, and he has this lovely way about him. So I highly recommend you follow a soul called Joel. How's your heart? That is lovely. And I'm going to do a quick check to see if anybody... Oh, Lori Ariane, love you. Hey, Lori. Oh, see, Lori, I'm with people in their pain, but I don't carry it. I give it to the universe, not mine to carry. Sometimes things attach. However, in my daily yoga practice, I release it there. Yes, yes. And that's right. That's so good that you can release that there. That is amazing that you don't hang on to other people's. So vital, right? Yeah. And this is really about not hanging on to ours as well, but digging into it, figure out what it is so that we can release it. So having actually the yoga background has been, yes, it's such a good tool. Yoga is an amazing tool. And actually I got away from yoga and I have been getting back on the mat of late and I'm feeling very much better for it. And the other person I want to share with you, she vibes very high. She's quite amazing. Her name is Ashmi Path. Ashmi Path. Ashmi Path. And something that she wrote just sort of felt perfect for this live, and it was, and maybe in this lifetime, you're learning to stop looking for guidance outside of you and instead trust the subtle nudges of your heart. And that just felt really yummy way to also look at what this process is. As you sit in the muck, it allows you to understand what you're feeling because you're allowing yourself to feel it. And then you can sort of listen to what's coming through. And the more you listen, the more you learn. So I just wanted to share some of those interesting things about me sitting in the muck over the last week or so. And you know, as I do feel that I'm about to level up in some way, big time. So it has been quite a roller coaster for me over the last week, and I had luckily have had the support where I need it. But I have also known that for the most part, this is mine. This is my journey, and this part of the journey, this part of the path, I go on my own. But I got it. I'm right here. I'm right here. And so today, as I was getting ready to talk about all of this, I used my conscious dressing to really, and I just sort of stepped into it. I didn't want to overthink it. I was like, okay, what do you need today? What is feeling so good? And I was like, oh, I want the red. I want the red. It's roughly, it's feminine, but it's grounding in a vibrant way. Because normally I've talked that I like black to ground. Black is just so necessary for me because I don't ground well. But this red, oh, it just felt like everything did. I was like, yes. And then, of course, I put on elephant because another grounding element for me. But since I was a little girl, elephants have been my favorite, and it's my logo. And where the style Sherpa, Sherpa, Himalayans, elephants, it all came from. I put on this beautiful stone necklace that I haven't worn in quite a while. It's from the RISD gift shop. It was made by a RISD artist and it's just all sorts of different stones put together. And I do love to wear all sorts of different stones because that makes me feel very well balanced. Um, and then I put on another carnelian ring, and of course my labradorite ring, um, which I wear almost every day, and a little moonstone. And all these things are tools that I'm using to not escape, not hide, but provide the support I need as I am on this journey in the muck. And the appropriate shoe would be a muck boot. So that's what I'll be wearing, are muck boots. Maybe not out tonight, but yes, I will be wearing muck boots for sure. So if anybody has any questions about muck, or you want to talk about the muck you're in, you just need an ear or whatever, or you want me to talk you through the board of directors, I'm actually thinking of coming up with maybe a little workshop on creating a board of directors. I don't know, that sort of came to me. So if that's something you think might interest you, let me know. If that's sort of resonating, how to sort of bring your board of directors to the table, and maybe some prompting questions to get them talking. I don't know. Let me know if that interests you or not. If not, that's totally cool. If so, it interests me because that way I get to figure out how the hell I did it so I can share it with you, because that's kind of how I roll. So, I hope you all have a beautiful day. I hope you follow A Soul Called Chol. to find out how your heart is on a daily basis. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Namaste.